Tonight on CTV News at 6. The day has arrived.
We've got conservation officers that are here as part of the Sudbury Enforcement Unit.
15 wolf dogs in Greater Sudbury have now been removed from a property. They are called forever chemicals.
We would love to be able to eliminate. However, right now we're at the stage of mitigating.
The federal government is extending its agreement to clean up 2 sites in North Bay and calling for support.
We are facing uncertainty as far as funding challenges go.
Sudbury Outreach Services is facing a possible shutdown.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Glad you're part of our show on this Wednesday. Police in North Bay have released drone footage of a pursuit of suspects who were arrested for trafficking. An officer can be seen chasing the suspects and apprehending one of them. The other suspect was arrested shortly after. The pair from the Greater Toronto area were carrying $64,000 worth of cocaine along with nearly $2,500 in cash. Officers initially pursued the suspects in their vehicle when the suspect's license plate was flagged by an automated license plate reader in the Lakeshore Drive and Judge Avenue area. 2 people were arrested in Fort Albany First Nation yesterday as part of an ongoing drug trafficking investigation. More than $100,000 in drugs was seized from a residence, along with more than $25,000 in cash. Cocaine, meth, and fentanyl were also seized by Anishinaabe-Aski police. Both of the suspects have been charged with multiple counts of trafficking and possession of property obtained by crime. A heavy police presence continues at this hour on Bowman Avenue in Kapuskasing. Provincial police are asking the public to avoid the area. Details are limited at this hour. More information will be released as it becomes available. The city of Timmins has decided on a site for a permanent homeless encampment that would provide shelter for around 44 people. The matter was up for a vote at last night's council meeting. The former Tembec sawmill location on Highway 101 is council's preferred site. Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau says the Ministry of Natural Resources owns the large parcel of land and would lease a portion of it for the encampment. Councillors Bill Guzdanovich and Rock Whistle voted against the resolution since they would like to see how the site will be supported and if there will be any rules in place. The mayor says planning is underway, but the province has been asking for a decision on the location before it will release funds for the initiative.
With it being, a project-ready site, we're hopeful that we'll be able to have more appropriate shelter options in a matter of months. Of course, it'll be dependent on what kind of response we receive from our ministry partners. But the goal here is really to be able to shelter people, during these winter months. And so I would say that definitely weighed heavily into the decision around this site.
I don't think there's a perfect location. I think any location that we table would have opposition from one segment of the community or another. I think this location, given the feedback we've been given in terms of the likelihood of its existing zoning provisions being applicable and allowing this type of activity, make it one of the only locations that have been presented to us that may be able to meet some of the timelines that we've been given in terms of having an agreement in place by the end of the year.
Black adds if council hadn't decided on a location by the end of the month, it risks losing $3.2 million in provincial funding. A vital organization supporting Sudbury's most vulnerable is facing a funding crisis. The Go Give project says it may be forced to shut down critical outreach programs in the new year. CTV's Amanda Hicks has more.
On any given night, the Go Give project helps up to 200 people experiencing homelessness, substance use, and mental health challenges, connecting them to treatment and care. But now the future of its core services, known as Welcoming Streets and mobile outreach programs, are hanging in the balance, with funding set to expire on December 31st.
We are facing uncertainty as far as funding challenges go. Throughout 2025, we have stably operated our Welcoming Streets and mobile outreach program. The two are very closely integrated together. And as we come up to January, we still don't have any clear answers on what that funding might be looking like.
With the deadline fast approaching, the not-for-profit has already been forced to lay off 11 staff members. Community outreach worker Nakoma Van Every is one of them.
It's a little tough, especially right around the holidays. I'm more worried about our guys that are out on the streets because I know a lot of them depend heavily on our service, from simple things like just giving them a ride to somewhere where they can access other services, or just a friendly face to help them out on a day where they might be having a tough time.
The Welcoming Streets program mediates issues downtown by connecting vulnerable individuals with services, while the mobile outreach program delivers essentials and harm reduction supplies to those in need during late night hours. Up until now, downtown Sudbury offered financial support to keep the programs running.
We definitely had discussions where, the impression may have been that there would be additional support from the business improvement area, but again, their board has collectively decided that this should be municipally funded, and we do support that decision.
CTV News reached out to downtown Sudbury. In a statement, it said in part, "From the BIA's perspective, this funding was always intended as a pilot project. We will soon be launching a new collaborative program with community partners designed to streamline support." We did not receive a response from the City of Greater Sudbury in time for broadcast. In the meantime, the Go Give project is calling on the community for help through its Giving Tree campaign, with a goal of raising $100,000 to keep its life-saving outreach services running until the end of March. Details can be found on its website or their social media pages. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Wikwemikong Tribal Police's initiative Project Wigwam took $10,000 in illicit drugs off the street. The project focuses on monitoring and intercepting repeat offenders. Officers stopped a suspicious vehicle in the Caboni Road area last night. Police say the occupants tried to provide false identities, which led officers to arrest them and search the vehicle, where they found drugs and cash. One of the people arrested had been arrested Monday for non-compliance of release orders. You can find out more about this story on our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. In Sudbury, police are sharing the results of a 10-day blitz on bail compliance and warrant apprehension. The initiative targeted violent and high-risk offenders with court-imposed conditions. Officers completed 82 bail compliance checks and found the vast majority were adhering to their conditions. 18% were found to be non-compliant. One person was arrested and 5 arrest warrants were applied for. Police also executed 52 arrest warrants and laid 24 new charges. In the course of the arrests, they seized more than 360 grams of drugs, including fentanyl, as well as various weapons. Residents in Sudbury are getting a sneak peek at what will be in the final draft of the city's updated downtown master plan. CTV's Angela Gemmel reports.
About a dozen residents check out displays and speak to representatives about the future vision for Sudbury's downtown.
People are starting to see the opportunities again downtown, especially with the new event center coming, the art gallery, the library, and we're starting to see that buzz return.
This was the third community session over the past year for the city to garner public input for its updated downtown master plan, although today's event presented the feedback from those previous sessions. The master plan outlines ways to revitalize the core through economic, cultural, and retail activity. It had included a list of projects, but most have been completed. This updated draft plan is meant to better reflect current priorities.
The major things are how are we reacting to the event center and the cultural hub? So what do we need to put around those projects to support those projects, but also to support downtown revitalization? So there's ideas for more residential development, hotel development, more commercial development, and so all these ideas are coming through.
Landry says this latest plan includes livability and well-being in the downtown, but much of those details and actions are already within the city's homelessness initiatives. None of the residents at the session wanted to go on camera, but many told CTV they either live or frequent the core.
People care about downtown. There's a massive portion of the population that really wants to see downtown thriving again. And we're getting people come out and add their comments and add those contributions so that it's a real community-wide plan.
The updated draft downtown plan will be presented to City Council in late January or early February. Landry says if City Council adopts the blueprint, City staff will return later in the year with a 10-year action strategy to implement the plan, including budget realities. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Shifting gears now to the weather, a little sun and some light snow on this Wednesday. To tell us more, here's CTV's Rick Wyman.
Tony, we've got some colder weather coming into Northeastern Ontario. I mean, after the squalls and flurries that we endured for the last little while with that low pressure system, bound to get a little cooler beginning this evening. We'll get into some of those temperatures a little bit later on during the 7-day forecast. Here's the system that's shifting out, as Tony alluded to, shifting gears, shifting out of the Northeast right now. We'll get some flurry activity and more, but again, a colder night, a big difference in terms of our current temperatures. I'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. Tony, back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. On the rise, still to come on CTV News at 6. North Bay City Council approves the rates for water and wastewater next year. And the cost damage as a result of fires this year in Greater Sudbury is more than 2024.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Time now for a look at the mayor's chair. Once a week, we check in with local mayors to see what's happening in their community and some of the situations they're dealing with. Joining us tonight in the mayor's chair is Mayor Raymond Belanger from Mattawa. Mayor Belanger, welcome.
Thank you. Really happy to be here with you.
I want to start with amalgamation. I think the last meeting I had a chance to watch from Mattawa, council was looking at exploring new options, and one of those was amalgamation with some of its neighbors. In particular, I'm thinking Mattawa Township, but you were very much at the beginning stages when I was watching. Anything you can fill us in on there, or where do things stand?
Well, not too much has progressed. I know the council from town of Mattawa asked the township of Mattawa to enter in some talks, and the response wasn't favorable. And since then, the township of Mattawa has asked the town of Mattawa for some firefighting service to be expanded into their township, and this is an opportunity now to let's put everything on the table. Including amalgamation, shared services, firefighting, etc. And we're waiting for a response from the Township of Mattawa.
Talk to me a little bit about the opportunity. Why, or I guess what might be the benefits here?
Well, that's exactly what we want to make sure we know. We would like the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to have a say in it. You know, to explore all the possibilities, you know, what are the pros and cons for both sides. Obviously, Mattawa is landlocked. You know, we're one of the smallest 10 municipalities in Ontario. As far as landmass goes, we are 3.67 square kilometer. So entering an area of 200 square kilometers would be beneficial. But at the same time, we also have 250 acres that the town of Mattawa is now not only exploring, but we've started to make it accessible and to future building of all types of homes up there, including a new reservoir that would triple the water for firefighting capabilities in the town of Mattawa.
Interesting things for sure. Down to less than a minute, but I want to talk to you a little bit about highway safety. A lot of phenom mayors, northern mayors talking about this right now. One major highway I know goes right through Mattawa. The NDP have been looking to get a bill passed in Queen's Park. What's your impression about Highway 17 and highway safety where you look at it from your position?
Highway 17, as we all know, is a much traveled highway. It's a link for economic activities in the whole north. I consider our area much better than the northern area, but a good upgrade on the total land highway, I should say, would be beneficial. We're talking about opening the Ring of Fire, etc. The train is going to be traveling all the way up north. I think it would be a good thing also to have people traveling on 17 and 11 to have more safety. Considering that large trucks are traveling, and it is a link to the rest of the country, and I think the highway should be looked at in that fashion.
Absolutely. I mean, whether you go across the north on 11 or 17, the one thing you have in common is you go through Mattawa for sure. Any holiday message you'd like to leave with the people of Mattawa and Northern Ontario as we head into these final few weeks of 2025?
Well, first of all, I'd like to wish good health and happy holidays to one and all. Myself as the mayor and our whole council wish nothing to the best of our constituents and our neighbors. And hopefully everyone gets through a happy and safe holiday season.
Wise words indeed. Mayor Belanger, thank you.
My pleasure.
That's Mayor Raymond Belanger from the town of Mattawa.
Thanks for that, Ian. Despite a ruling from the city's integrity commissioner, Timmins Council has voted not to reprimand 2 councillors for remarks made about the mayor. The integrity commissioner ruled councillors John Curley and Bill Gosdanovich made disparaging remarks about the city's mayor during a special council meeting in June, a meeting Mayor Michelle Boileau ended. Tuesday night, council voted down motions to reprimand the 2 councillors 5-3, saying the ruling by the integrity commissioner was sanction enough. North Bay residents will be paying more for water and wastewater next year. For the average customer, the 2026 budget will result in an increase of between $43 and $50 a year. A significant portion of the budget supports core infrastructure maintenance and upgrades, including water mains, pumping stations, and treatment facilities. North Bay also announcing it has hired a new chief financial officer. At last night's meeting, Shannon Saucier will take on the role. Saucier has been with the city since 2014 and has served as the Director of Financial Services and Director of Strategic Initiatives. Fire damage this year has doubled in Sudbury, that according to a report headed to Municipal Committee next week. According to the documents, $15.6 million in damage was caused by fire this year, compared to $7.2 million last year. Among the most damaging fire this year was the January fire at Poulin Potatoes in Azilda that caused $2.6 million. That was followed by the fire in July at a rooming house on Whitaker Street that caused $1 million in damages. All right, back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
Tony, colder than it was last night. We'll get into the wind chill factor and a lot more coming up. But first, the forecast radar right now, that system moving out of the northeast. And we'll get some colder temperatures for tonight and some cloud conditions tomorrow. Sunny skies by Friday. So let's have a look at, discover what we've got going on right here, right now. Across northeastern Ontario, all these temperatures with the wind chill, -18 Moosonee, -22 in Cochrane, -21 in Timmins. High pressure system, of course, just a few clouds. Kapuskasing -17, -17 Chapleau, some light flurries, -14 Wawa, some flurry activity, -15 in Sault Ste. Marie, mainly clear skies. In Parry Sound, mainly clear, 10 after dealing with all the squalls and flurries the last couple of days. -19 North Bay, -18 Temiskaming Shores, -19 Kirkland Lake. And across that Highway 17 corridor, either -16 or -18 degrees. We'll check out the 7-day forecast and the pick of the day coming up. Tony, just a couple of minutes away.
Thanks, Rick. More training next on CTV News at 6. Tradeswomen are calling for mandatory anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training. And the federal government and the city of North Bay are working to remove forever chemicals. The Ontario Building and Construction Tradeswomen are calling for mandatory anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training across the construction industry. CTV's Madison Merrier has that story.
There's nothing worse than having that gut feeling of I don't want to go to work because you know you're going to be bullied.
The OBCT wants to make anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training mandatory as they feel there is a gap in retention.
Individuals will have the policy posted. It talks about what to do, but there was never any preventative steps or measures to help stop it before it happens, right? Having a policy just alone is very reactive, and what we're trying to do is be proactive in our industry.
In a survey done by the OBCT of 342 women, 52% indicated they have experienced harassment on the work site. And of those, 51% reported feeling unsatisfied with how the situation was handled.
The demand for tradespeople in general is so high right now. We can't refuse people just because of their gender or their skin color or their preferences. It has nothing to do with your ability to do a trade.
The Occupational Health and Safety Act says companies are required to develop and maintain a written program to implement the policy with respect to workplace harassment.
So every organization is required to have a health and safety policy and a violence and harassment policy in their workplace. And it's a testament or a commitment to preventing those bad things from happening in the workplace.
So there's a little line in there that a lot of people get confused, and it says there has to be a policy and training, but the training is training on the policy, meaning for the individuals who need that policy, they'll just talk about what the steps are in the policy, where the policy will be posted, and that's simply where it stops. While other provinces have a little section in the legislation where it talks about it's mandatory to have preventative harassment training, not just on the policy.
We reached out to the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development for a comment, and we did not receive a response by our deadline. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
The City of North Bay and the Department of National Defence are extending their agreement to treat and remove forever chemicals. More on this story from CTV's Eric Tashner.
It's a two-pronged approach to treat forever chemicals, PFAS, while also protecting the North Bay drinking water supply.
We would love to be able to eliminate. However, right now we're at the stage of mitigating.
The airport is where firefighter training from the mid-1970s until the late 1990s took place. The substances seeped into the soil. The airport is near Lees Creek, which connects to Trout Lake, where the city draws its municipal water.
Over the past 9 years, more than 160 wells have been sampled. Testing showed that there's 25 private wells that exceeded provincial guidelines.
The current level of PFAS in the municipal water supply remains lower than the interim guidance level provided by the province of 70 nanograms per litre. However, it is above Health Canada's final objective of 30 nanograms of PFAS per litre. 4 years ago, the City and Department of National Defence agreed on a $20 million mission to remove and treat PFAS, with DND covering 97% of the cost. Remediation work began at the airport in fall 2024. 26,000 tons of contaminated soil was removed and disposed of from the so-called PFAS hotspot. The city and DND have now agreed to extend the airport soil removal and cleanup until 2037.
We move together and we work together to make sure that everybody's drinking water is safe.
The cost is now pegged at a whopping $122 million, with the federal government still responsible for the 97% share. The city's portion is around $4 million.
We can work towards areas that do have PFAS impacts in the soil, however, not at the same concentration, as well as focusing now on surface water and groundwater.
$8 million was also approved so the city can conduct a 6-month pilot project at the water treatment plant to find an effective way to treat the PFAS.
Then we can move to an efficient and effective design for an upgrade.
A long-standing drinking water advisory for Lees Creek remains in place. There's also an advisory for eating fish from the creek. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
The first woman to serve as Canada's ambassador to the United States, Kirsten Hillman, is stepping down in the new year. Hillman says it's been, quote, a great privilege to have served and represented Canada. She was formally appointed to the role in 2020, serving as Canada's top diplomat in Washington and chief Canadian negotiator on U.S. trade. Her resignation comes as trade talks remain stalled and as a review of CUSMA is set to begin in the new year. In an interview, she told CTV's chief anchor Omar Sachedina why she decided to leave now.
I spoke to the Prime Minister about this and I said it's time, I think, for me to start a new chapter. He had asked me back in the spring to stay on for the transition of his government, the new government, and the transition to the new Trump administration. I agreed to do that, and I'm honored to have done that, and I'm proud to have done that. But I did say I will be wanting to head out in 2026, and 2026 is just around the corner.
Sources tell CTV News that Canadian financier Mark Wiseman will likely be named as Hillman's successor. In March, the Prime Minister added Wiseman to his Council on Canada-U.S. Relations. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Tony, are you excited? 2 weeks to go. Christmas Eve, already the quickest month of the year, December. Can hardly wait. Forecast radar, get ready for Christmas Eve, 2 weeks away. We're counting down the minutes. Forecast radar, that system that gave us some flurry activity and squalls moving out to the northeast. We'll get some colder weather tonight, overnight, continuing into tomorrow. Some cloudy conditions, the odd sunny break and more. For instance, this is what we've got going on across the northeast. Minus 15 in Greater Sudbury, minus 10 Sault Ste. Marie, minus 17 Timmins, minus 15 Temiskaming Shores, minus 15 in North Bay. Colder with the wind chill. Moosonee, minus 20. Caphurst, minus 18, minus 13 Wawa. Wind chill minus 19 in Gore Bay, and Perry Sound minus 13 with the chance of flurries. 7-day forecast time. Here we go. Mainly cloudy tomorrow in Greater Sudbury, minus 9, but colder with the wind chill. Sunny skies Friday, minus 7. Chance of flurries Saturday. Sunday, sun and cloud, minus 13. And the chance of flurries come Monday with a high of minus 9. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma now. Chance of flurries for tomorrow, part of a 5-day span. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Chance of flurries all 5 days. Temperatures somewhat bearable. You got a pair of 9s on Saturday and Sunday. And of course, your normal for this time of the year is minus 2. How about Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing? Again, another span of 5 consecutive days with flurry activity. Minus 10 on Thursday, minus 9 Friday, minus 13 Saturday, minus 15 Sunday, and minus 11 on Monday. Cloud cover come Tuesday with a high of only minus 10 degrees. Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, chance of flurries for tomorrow, minus 9. Some sun and cloud Friday, minus 8. Should be a nice day there. Saturday, the chance of flurries at 60%. That's a pretty good bet. Sunday, only a 30% chance of flurries, but colder at minus 14. Chance of flurries on Monday, 40%. Cloud cover Tuesday with a high as things start to warm up just a bit of minus 8 degrees. And North Bay, West Nipissing, chance of flurries tomorrow, minus 9. Sunny skies on Friday, like other areas of the northeast, minus 7 your high, minus 7 again Saturday with the chance of flurries. Sunday, sun and cloud, minus 12. Chance of flurries come Monday, minus 8. And here we go with the sun and cloud Tuesday to wrap things up at minus 6. Let's have a look now at our pick of the day. This was taken in October. Robert Armstrong sent it in recently, and I thought, you know what? We need to brighten things up just a bit. So Robert took this Nighthawk Lake in the Timmins area. Robert, I love the shot, and of course it's somewhat reminiscent of the fall weather. Big contrast to what we've got going on now. Stick around, Tony has more news after the break.
The Ontario Liberals are calling on the government to restock the shelves with U.S. booze and donate the proceeds of American liquor sales to local food banks, something Manitoba and Nova Scotia have done with great success. CTV Siobhan Morris has more from Queen's Park.
It was packed away in March. Loads of California wines and Kentucky bourbon. Ontario's salvo in the U.S. trade war.
Can we sell that American liquor, use the profit, and give it to Ontario's food banks? Have it do some good?
Ontario's sitting on $80 million of unsold American booze. About $2 million of that is about to expire.
Will he pour all that U.S. booze down the drain or let the LCBO sell it to help food banks feed families?
The Ford government says Ontario vintners, brewers and distillers have seen their sales soar since the U.S. competition has been in storage.
To put American alcohol back on the shelves would mean we're saying to all of those Ontario employees, you're not valued.
Manitoba put some of its American booze back on the market for charity just today. People even lined up to snag a bottle of previously forbidden brew. Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and PEI have similar plans for their U.S. stock.
Well, I'd have to talk with the LCBO and see what they have to think.
The Premier stressing taking American alcohol out of circulation was meant to send a message.
Until Donald Trump gets back and starts signing a deal, stops going after our manufacturing, going after our companies, going after our communities and families, we need to hit back.
Shoppers are raising a glass to selling U.S. booze again.
That's a good idea.
I'm all right with that. As long as we're helping people here in Canada.
That's good. Why not? It'll help anyone in need.
The CEO of Toronto's Daily Bread Food Bank says revenue from these sales would go far, but the fix would be temporary.
I would love to see that $80 million develop $80 million worth of affordable housing or $80 million worth of supports to those on OW or ODSP.
Structural changes to keep people from needing to turn to food banks in the first place.
That was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. There are only a few weeks left of 2025, and already Canadians are worried about how they'll be able to afford food, debt, and housing costs next year. The financial fears come as the Bank of Canada announces it's holding rates steady. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has that story.
The malls may be busy, but this year many Canadians are focused less on presents and more on presents.
Me and all my friends make gifts for each other, and I feel like that makes it so much more lasting, and it's not like a cost worry thing in the holidays.
This holiday season, economic anxiety is high. According to a new Nanos report, 42% of people rank grocery prices as their top financial concern. 17% say their biggest concern is personal debt. 16% housing costs, 8% job security, and just 8% say they have no financial concerns.
You roll all that stuff up, and it's interesting, just paying for the groceries being the top concern that people think that they're going to have when it comes to 2026. So it's pretty basic.
The financial stress being tied to uncertainty around tariffs and the high cost of living.
If it was me, we'd be vegetarian, but I have good Canadian hockey players. They like their meat, milk, and cereal.
And for those wishing for prices to come down, the Bank of Canada says that would actually be bad news.
If we were to try to push the whole price level down, that would cause a severe recession in Canada. Nobody wants that.
So what can Canadians do to help their financial future? Experts say try tracking where money is coming in and going out.
Some lifestyles aren't sustainable anymore. Things have just gotten really expensive. So what you want to do with those big purchases, I think, is either avoid them or delay them or partition them. And maybe that's the best way to go.
Overall, inflation is expected to remain steady next year, with the Bank of Canada expecting it to hover around 2%. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And in the north, concern around the cost and spending are in line with the national poll. Many saying they're concerned about rent in particular.
Keeping up with everyday payments, groceries, living expenses are getting a little too high for everyone, I think. That's basically it.
Just the average.
Just the average every day. That used to be a little bit more affordable that aren't anymore.
Well, rent is insane. Even to rent a one-bedroom studio apartment, they want $900. I'm on ODSP, I get 15. What can I live on?
Well, most of it is everything is so expensive nowadays. By the time you pay your rent and buy groceries, most people don't have money to shop like they used to.
I think for the majority of people kind of in my age group, mid to late 20s up into their 30s, is really just making sure that they have enough money until their next paycheck to make sure that they can have rent and food on the table, especially for those that have family or have people that they have to support.
A new survey shows that Canadian parents are feeling the holiday shopping stress. In an Interact survey, 3/4 of parents said that creating a magical holiday for their kids is a top priority, but 2/3 say rising costs are making it harder for them to manage their holiday spending. 1 in 5 say they're relying on grandparents to help them provide that holiday cheer. 1/3 of parents say their grandparents spend more on gifts for their kids than they do. And with so many people looking to save money, some are now considering secondhand gifts, whether it's thrifting something or buying a nostalgic item from days gone by. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Vintage Vendors in Oshawa describes itself as retro, antique, and unique, but it's also part of the thrifting culture taking hold with many consumers. Susan Johnson says there are more than 100 vendors here with items that could make for a great present.
The stigma of buying used items and giving them as gifts has gone away.
Retro Christmas goods are highly sought after at this time of year. Another popular segment is vintage clothing. Many younger buyers see it as a way to purchase higher quality goods that are often hard to find.
I don't think this will last very long in the store because the fact that it's the bay, it's this gorgeous red color looks like amazing condition.
Consumer Reports says thrifting has gone mainstream and people are more willing to accept a secondhand item.
I think people's feelings towards that have changed a lot in the last couple of years. Thrifting can help you find something really special and meaningful for the people on your list.
Researchers also say consider refurbished electronics, as you can often get something used that's dependable for a fraction of the price. Your best bets are smartphones that are no more than 3 generations old, laptops, desktops, monitors, gaming consoles, TVs less than 3 years old, cameras, routers, and audio devices. Consider refurbished products sold at big box stores, which often come with a return policy or warranty. No matter what kind of secondhand item you buy, it's also good for the planet.
All the items we have here, if we weren't reselling them and reusing them and recycling them, they would be ending up in the landfills.
When it comes to toys, many people are nostalgic for the past. They love collecting Hot Wheels, Superman, Batman, and anything Star Wars.
Toys from the 90s are really hot right now for the kids that are in their 30s right now. They're buying stuff that they played with.
By thrifting items or checking out vintage shops, you could discover some unique goods you won't find anywhere new, and you may save some money at the same time. Pat Foran, CTV News.
They've been rounded up. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. 15 wolf dogs in Greater Sudbury were seized today. So where are they headed? A big sigh of relief for thousands of Air Transat passengers today after a pilot strike was averted. The tentative deal was reached just hours before this morning's strike deadline. It comes after a year of talks, with the union pushing for similar gains made by Air Canada and WestJet pilots in recent years. Terms of the deal have not been released, and it still needs to be ratified. Air Transat says its priority is to fully restore operations after more than a dozen flights were canceled in anticipation of a potential strike. Passengers impacted by those cancellations are frustrated.
I've been on the phone, trying to see if they can get me started the next flight as soon as possible, but I've been on the phone for a couple of hours yesterday.
Before word came of the tentative agreement, some travelers decided to pay out of pocket to get to their destination with another airline. The president and CEO of Air Transat issuing a statement saying the airline extends its sincerest apologies to customers whose flights were disrupted in recent days. 15 hybrid wolf dogs have been relocated by the Minister of Natural Resources in Greater Sudbury. Conservation officers and vets were at a property in Wanapitei today to seize the animals after the owner pled guilty earlier this year to illegally possessing them. CTV's Alan Everson reports.
A wolf dog under sedation is loaded in a trailer to be checked on before being transported to an approved licensed wildlife facility in Ontario. The Ministry of Natural Resources was on site at a Wanapitei property, enforcing a court order to seize the animals.
We've got conservation officers that are here as part of the Sudbury Enforcement Unit. We also have staff from the Bearwise program that have expertise with relocating wildlife, specifically large wildlife. And then we also have a team of vets that are here as well.
The MNR says some of the hybrid wolf dogs were chemically immobilized to be handled safely and secured for transport.
With regards to today, we've got a variety of specialized equipment, including staff that are trained in chemical immobilization. So if required, we may need to chemically immobilize some of these animals in order to get them into crates, and then we can use the reversal drugs to wake them back up and then be able to transport them safely.
The former owner of the dogs was on his property during the seizure, helping to calm the animals as best he could. He says it's a sad day, but one he knew was coming.
I feel very lucky, actually, because it could have been a lot worse. Like, prime example, that would have been like in BC when, you know, they showed up and euthanized all those ostriches. At least with my dogs, it's not going to be the same case, and at least I know they're leaving this property alive.
The animals were moved in trailers and bear traps, modified with plywood to enhance their safety and comfort during transport.
We're looking at public safety here today, and we're also wanting to make sure that the animals are well cared for and that they're transported safely here today.
As of our deadline, the MNR did not get back to us about the location of the approved wildlife facility, or if the hybrid wolf dogs will be living together as one unit. Alana Everson, CTV News, Wanapitei.
In the OHL, the Sioux Greyhounds are in action tonight. They'll be taking on the Kitchener Rangers at GFL Memorial Gardens at 7:07 p.m. Earlier this week, the Hounds acquired St. Louis Blues prospect Lucas Fisher from the Sarnia Sting. The Greyhounds gave up defenseman Hunter Solomon and 5 priority selection picks ranging from 2026 to 2029. From the top of the charts to the Walk of Fame, David Daniel has the latest in tonight's Hollywood Report.
Taylor Swift keeps making music history. Her album, The Life of a Showgirl, is #1 on the 2025 year-end Billboard 200 albums chart. It's the record 5th time Swift has topped the year-end tally. She also did it last year with the Tortured Poets Department.
They were the standard for who we grew up to be.
Courtney B. Vance has met the standard for the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The award-winning actor is set to be honored with a star for his television work on Tuesday, December 16th. One of the guest speakers will be another Walk of Famer, Vance's wife, Angela Bassett. Christina Aguilera marks 25 years since her first Christmas album with a Yuletide trip to the City of Lights. Christina Aguilera Christmas in Paris features holiday classics and some of her biggest hits. The musical celebration plays in theaters December 14th and 21st only. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
As expected, the Bank of Canada held the key lending rate at 2.25%. BNN Bloomberg's Mirella Fernandez with the reasons behind that decision.
The governor for the Bank of Canada says the rate is where it needs to be to keep inflation in check. Tiff Macklem had hinted the rate would stay the same in October. And with growth in the economy and positive employment data, the bank decided not to move. But the governor did point to Canada working through a structural adjustment, which he is keeping a close eye on. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 72.49. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 58.79. Western Canadian Select is down to 44.53. And the TSX gained 246 points today for another record close. Those are your business headlines. I'm Mirella Fernandez.
Here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $16.18, closing the day at $42.2547 US an ounce. Silver up $1.05 to end the day at $61.68. Copper moved ahead 4 cents to $5.27, and nickel slipped 4 cents, ending the day at $6.58 US a pound. Rick is back now for one last look at your Thursday weather.
Well, you can wake up to the following. We've got some cloud cover in the forecast in some areas like Greater Sudbury, mainly cloudy skies. -9 your expected high. Chance of flurries in Timmins, -10, -5 in Sault Ste. Marie with the chance of flurries as well. Meanwhile, in North Bay, we've got the chance of flurries, -9. Perry Sound, some cloud cover, -8. That's a bit of a break after the squalls and showers the last couple of days. Snow showers, that is. Chance of flurries at -9 in Temiskaming Shores. So change in the weather. Colder though, Tony, tonight and overnight. Back to you.
Thanks, Rick. And finally, from now until Christmas, we're going to present some music for you. The acts are coming from the Telethon this past Saturday. And this evening, it's Ryma Major. Thanks for watching. Good night.